Oh, quick overview. This is a CMU 200, easy enough to remove the power supply. Just remove the screws from the outer edge, all the way around, pulls it out, no problem at all. Obviously you've got to then dismantle it. You've got the outer case and the bottom case. To take the outer case off, you only need really the bottom. You can remain in the bottom case if you need it to, but I dismantled it totally. Symptoms of this power supply. Well, initially when I first got it, I got no rails at all really. There's a little diagram there that somebody kindly did on the internet, which came in quite useful, showing you which pins are, which is based on this connection here. This is, I broke that on the way out unfortunately, but you flip it over, where's it go? Just show you that, there, and effectively what you need to do is from I think it's this pin here, put say a 100 ohm resistor, I believe, just short it to deck basically, and it brings the power supply up. It's like the switch on mode for it. When I initially did it, I had a few faults in that I was missing a few rails, so where I should have been getting flip that back over again. I did do a little bit of writing on there, so showing what the rails were and what they should have been. I got -12 on the 12 volt rail. I got about 8, and the 5 and I think the 3.6 or something like that was missing. Did a little bit of scouting around on the internet. Not a lot of information on this because you can't get a circuit diagram for it. First thing I did was, if you want to dismantle this, by the way, take the top board off. You need to remove these 2 screws which holds the fan top and bottom, or from the bottom, whichever way you want to do it. Single row connector there, and just 2 wires over here which are on a look as terminal. You can take that off. A lot of if you're missing a 12 volt rail, a lot of people recommend there's a TO220 I think, or 200, I'm not too sure what it is, which is actually on this board, which again, once you've taken the top one off, it's just 2 strip connectors at the bottom. It'll just slide forwards, and your 12 volt rail is up here basically. This isn't going to be an over in-depth video of how I did the fault. I found the fault, but it's all fully working now. First thing I did, I found one thing on the internet. It was about, on the top board just there, there's a row of 5 1 ohm resistors all in parallel. When I checked it with the meter, it should read, what should it be? 5 is roughly 0.2 ohms, I think it should read. I was getting about 0.4. So I whipped them all off, just replaced them with some 1206 1 ohm resistors, dropped it back on, and I'm back down to where I should be now, 0.2 ohms. When I did that, some of my rails came back. I got the 5 volt rail, the 8.4 volt rail came back up, and I think the 3.3 came up, but my 12 volt rail, for the power, not for the standby, for some reason I got the 12 volt standby power, but no, on me 12 volt rail, which I should have had, I was only getting 6.98 volts. So a little bit more investigation. Unfortunately for me, I did come across, which if I can zoom into it and show you there, I've got a component on this board and also one on this board which showed a little bit of burning. Now when I read the resistances on them, because fortunately I do have a second one of these, so I could do a cross comparison, they measured correct. I think this resistor here is well, it reads as about 14 ohms, 12 to 14 ohms. Same on the other board. I went through all the transistors, checking everything and that. Checked the caps. I couldn't see anything really. But then the one thing I did check was there's a just here. There's a cap across there. It's an SMD cap. Looks a bit very similar to these. I haven't got a clue what value it is because it was dead short. So I'm not having any SMD caps. I'm not really wanting to pinch one off any of the board. I just dropped this standard cap on it. Measured it again. It's open circuit now, so no problem at all. But this resistor is in series with that cap, and then I threw the trace, and I believe it came sort of over to here somewhere, over here, down onto the next board. There was another resistor that was also showing signs of burns in parallel with a diode. Again, the resistance read okay, but it obviously showed that it had been overheating, and I believe it was down to this little cap here had gone short circuit. So I've just patched it for now with a cap. I put I don't know what it is, 100 and, I can't even say, I ain't got my glasses on. It's probably 100 now, something like that. Powered it all up, put it all back together. Not powered it up, put it all back together. Dropped it in the CMU, run it up, runs fine, no problem whatsoever. Check the rails, all the rails are correct. So that's my findings on it. There is a tiny small board as well, which I'm not going to dismantle all this again. It's too much hassle, to be honest, so take it or leave it. But it's just down there, you can just see it next to the blue wires. There's an 8-pin chip. It's a UA3 something. I've changed that chip because that was just a recommendation from people saying that it's a possibility it could be on that small board. If you sort of Google it, you'll find a couple of people suggest there may be components on that board that are faulty, but having a second one of these helped me sort of check the components, and they all checked out fine. So I was just in a more lucky position than most people, even though I got a second board I could compare it against on values and things. So I've soak tested it. I've taken it all apart again just so I can show you really. I've soak tested it for a couple of hours, checked all the rails, everything seems to be fine. So I think in my case it was simply that capacitor there, which is on the top board, just there. I'll just zoom down to that. Oh, sorry, it's gone out of focus. You can see the burning on that resistor. They're just gone short, so easy wheezy fix for me. And as I say, I did actually change the 1 ohm resistors that were all in series. The bottom one is a diode. I just checked the diode, took it off, checked it, boys fine, put it back on. I just changed them for whether they're the right value, wattage value, I don't know, and whether they should be this type of mini mouth type capacitor, or resistor, sorry, I don't know. But I've got what I've got. That's all I can use at the moment. So at some point I might try and source or have a dig around on some old component boards I've got, whether there's any of these type of resistors and capacitors on there. But that's it. It seems to work fine. Powered it all up, put it all back together. And it's the model on this one is the Rohde Schwarz type SN250. I think this one is actually for according to the label there, it's for a CRTU, not the CMU, I think so. I don't know, but it's the same power supply anyway. Drops into this thing, no problem at all. Powers up fine, runs. That's my findings anyway. If it's helpful to you, all well and good. But it might point you in the right direction a little bit. Not else a lot I can say about the power supply. Seems overly elaborate for what it is. I've got an issue with this where this is broken. Well, I'll have to put a bit of super glue on there or something. But yeah, it'll be on eBay before you know it. I don't really need 2 power supplies, so it came in a job lot of bits and bobs I bought of CMU parts, and this is just labelled as faulty. So it's up and running now. So 7 phrase.